Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen and I'm pleased that you've come along for today's episode of our Solar Moments. I'm not feeling the greatest. I think I've got a little bit of flu that's been on our house and I think it's finally caught up with me. So I was looking for something really simple that I could make for our dinner this evening that wouldn't require a lot of energy because I'm having a low energy day for sure. And I thought, well, I'll make baked chicken, ranch chicken, baked ranch chicken, because it just requires a few ingredients. I went to gather everything up that I needed, and wouldn't you know, I don't have any packaged ranch dressing, and I don't have any of my homemade packaged ranch either. So what I've decided to do is I'll make my homemade mix, my ranch mix. I'll share that with you, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the recipe. So I'll get back here and get started right after this. Well, I don't make this all the time, but when I do make it, I usually double the batch because it keeps really well in just a sealed container, and that's what I'm going to mix it in today. And it has a pretty good lifespan on the shelf. So I have my recipe out just so that I can follow along. Now this recipe comes straight off of one of my videos. The very first two videos I ever made for YouTube in 2020, yeah, let me think back, it's been that long, were mixes and blends that I put together that you could store in the cupboard and use for things just like this. So I'm going to double up the recipe, but the single recipe for this is definitely in the mixes and blends. I think it's in part 2, but I'm not sure. You could go back and have a look. That was a long time ago, so please don't judge too heavily. So I'm just going to tell you the ingredients here for a single batch, and I'll double it as I go along, so hopefully I don't mix you up too much. So this is just powdered skimmed milk that I buy in a bag from my local grocery store. So I need a half a cup. I've put in 2 because, whoops, my lid. Oh, my head's not with me today. I need some dill wheat, and I need 1 teaspoon of dill wheat, so I'm adding 2. And I like lots of dill in the mix, so I don't mind if there's more. Put all these lids on after. I need 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I need 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Whoops. And as you can see, I don't need to be too precise. Well, I don't know if I don't have to, but I'm definitely not going to. I need a half a teaspoon of salt, so I'm adding 1. I need a teaspoon of minced onion, so I'm adding 2. I need 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I feel like I'm missing something here. That was 1 teaspoon in total. It was a half teaspoon of black pepper. And I am missing something. What am I missing? It must be, let me run through the recipe really quick. Oh, celery seed. Celery salt. I don't have any, but I have some celery seed. Man, was I mixed up. I didn't put in the black pepper. I put in the celery seed already. My brain is obviously not up to par today. So I'm going to need to get some black pepper out of the cupboard. And I need a total of 1 because the recipe calls for a half. Probably confuse the daylights out of you all with my doubling up the recipe. This is a simple recipe. I just need a little bit of brown sugar to go in there. You can totally skip the brown sugar, but I really feel it adds something. So I need a teaspoon of brown sugar. So I'm going for 2. Let's get that out of the way. Now, I'll just double check I have everything in there. Now, I am just going to shake the daylights out of this. Make sure that it gets thoroughly mixed. Now I'm set. So when I want to make a dip with this, actually I'll make a dip with you in a bit because I want to get this chicken on the go. So when I want to make it, I only need to use 2 tablespoons of this this mix here with a cup of mayonnaise and a cup of buttermilk. Now, if you're not a huge fan of buttermilk or you don't normally have it in your house, then you can just use a cup of milk and sour it with a bit of vinegar. About a teaspoon should do it, just to bring up the acidity level. And there you go. It's a simple thing. But if you are going to buy the buttermilk from the store to make a really delicious dressing, then you can also at the same time find my video on buttermilk buttermilk biscuits, because it's also a delicious recipe. For myself, I love to drink buttermilk, not every day, but once in a while. It's quite a treat. So I'll buy a liter and make the dressing, make the biscuits, and then I have a couple of glasses to drink, so it works out okay. But you don't always have it on hand, and I don't tend to run to the store for an ingredient at the last minute if I can substitute something else for it. Okay, so that's ready. Let me get rid of this, and then I'll be right back. While I'm gone, I'm going to turn on the oven to 350 degrees. And of course, as I was putting these away, I realized I hadn't put any parsley in here. And we need 2 tablespoons of parsley. And I really like it with the parsley. So don't skip it. Back to shaking so that we don't have all the parsley sitting in one spot. Now I do this in a pint jar, and voila. Okay, this would be an easy recipe if you had already had your dressing put together, or if you had the envelope with the ranch dressing in it. That would work just fine. I'm just going to spray this pan just to help with cleanup. And then I've got a package of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And I am just going to go to work. Now, some people wash their chicken, and I never have, and for that I have gotten some pretty harsh criticism. But I looked it up, and if you follow the USDA, is it the USDA, the food people? They say not to wash your chicken. There's too much chance of cross-contamination. So I don't know. It's your kitchen. Do what you like in your kitchen. Your kitchen, your rules. So anyway, I don't want to linger on that too long. So I'm going to make sure that these are all about, now that's the little tender part that came off, but they're all about the same depth. Because one of the things that we find when we're cooking with chicken parts is that the breast meat will cook a lot quicker than thighs will. No, I'm getting quite a few little tenderloins. Okay, so I've got 2 small ones and 2 large ones and 3 little tenderloins. So I think I'm going to put the little tenderloins together in a pack like this, so that they'll cook about the same rate. And And this fella's going to go in just as he is, and this one. And then these I may cut a little bit. I am going to cut that one down a bit. And I'm going to cut this one down a bit, about halfway through, just so they're all very close, because breast meat can cook up really quick. So you don't want part of the breast cooked and dried out before you get the rest in the pan, or cooked, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'll be right back and we'll carry on. This is what the chicken, how fast it could be if I had not forgotten about this. So we need some salt. You can salt both sides if you like. I don't put a lot of salt in because my mix already has salt in it. But there is 1 teaspoon of salt in a cup. So it's not that much. Then I'm going to take, I've got a block of cream cheese. I guarded it carefully. I put it into the microwave and I softened it a little bit. And I'm just going to smear these bits. I intend to use the whole thing, so I'm not worried about cross-contamination here. And we'll spin this around because I don't want to pick these pieces up now that I have clean hands. This is going to be so good. And I'm filming later in the day. This video won't go out until Wednesday. This is Tuesday, but I'm expecting Gino home from work probably within the next half hour. And so we'll be able to have this for our dinner. And I look forward to seeing him. He was away on the road last night, so it will be nice to have him home for dinner tonight. Now I'm being very generous with the cream cheese. And you can be as liberal as you like. If you don't soften this, it is a nightmare to try and spread it out. So make sure you don't skip that step. If you're putting it in the microwave and you're not keeping a watchful eye on it, it's going to get really liquidy. I guess that wouldn't hurt anything either, but I am just about done. There.
Really. Love you.
All right, I love you too.
How are you feeling?
I feel sick. Are you gone for the night now?
I brought my medicine, so it's in the bag.
Okay. Are you guys walking or do you have a ride?
We're walking.
Are you warm enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have quite liberally covered the chicken breasts with the cream cheese, and now I'm just going to take my pre-made ranch dressing mix and I'm going to sprinkle it all over the top. Now, if you were using one of the packages, you can't control the salt as much as we've been able to control it in here. So I would not probably be as generous as I'm being right now. In fact, if you were using 4 chicken breasts, I would just use 1 package of the commercial ranch dressing because it does contain quite a bit of salt. So the last thing to go on here is some cheese. And I've just got a block of old cheddar. You can use whatever cheese you have. That's going to be melty. We're going to put this on the top. See, I probably have enough grated right there. And I can taste this already. Provided I can still taste. It's a flu that's going around that we've had in the house now. Peyton was sick with it, and now it seems like I'm coming down with it. I'm hoping not. There we go. Now this is going to go into a 350 degree oven, and because I've cut these, I suspect that it's not going to take longer than about 35 minutes, but it could take a little longer. If you've got a ready reed thermometer or a digital thermometer that you can put into the thickest part of the meat, it should register 165 degrees. That's what you're shooting for. And so look for the thickest piece and go into the thickest part of the meat, and you're set. Okay, now I'm going to peel some potatoes, and I'm going to prepare a veggie. Honestly, it's going to come out of a bag tonight because that's how much energy I have, and there is nothing wrong with good frozen vegetables. Because all the vegetables that are frozen that we find in the grocery store section, or the frozen section of our grocery store, they've been picked at the peak of their ripeness, and they have been flash frozen and kept frozen until they get to the grocery store. So we often don't know how long the vegetables have been sitting on the shelf when they in the fresh section. They could have been there for a couple of weeks, so they may already have lost a lot of their nutrients. So I use a lot of frozen vegetables for that reason, that I know that they've been handled as soon as they come off the field, and that they'll be good for me. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. I think it's just going to be 2 of us for dinner tonight. It looks like now that Peyton is feeling better, she's gone off with her friends for dinner and won't be home until later. And so I don't have to peel a whole bunch of potatoes. I just need a few. I'm wondering how you guys are making out with your weather. That seems to be like a common thread of conversation during all our seasons, I guess. Right now, here in Golden, we're sitting at minus 13 Celsius. It got to minus 20 Celsius last night. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. Maybe I'll figure it out and put it on the screen here. But places around us are much colder than that, so we're pretty fortunate to be missing the cold weather. But it's pretty typical, actually, of the weather that we get in late January and early February. So we don't have anything to complain about. We have had a really easy winter. Most days have only been minus 3 to minus 7, somewhere in there, which is, it seems to me that 0 Celsius is pretty close to your freezing mark if you're in the United States. So it's been pretty good weather. And I'm looking outside, and I don't think we have much more than a foot of snow out there. I think one more of these potatoes ought to do it. So we've had a really, really easy winter. So if we have to put up with a week, it's supposed to last throughout the week, a week of weather that's getting down into the minus 20s at night. We surely should not complain about that. There we go. Now I'm just going to rinse these, and I'm going to get them onto the boil. And then I'll be right back. While everything's cooking, I'll show you how easy it is to put together the dressing if you're making the dressing fresh, which is so good. If you make this recipe, you're going to make it again and again. It is so much better than what you buy at the store. And no offense to anybody's store, but it's just that much better. Okay. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to get to this. This is how quickly this ranch dressing comes together, and it will keep in the fridge for quite a while. You have to remember that it does have a milk product in it. So again, you may have to put a little thought into how you're going to use it up, because it makes quite a bit. It makes 2 cups. So you're going to have to think about how you will use it up over the next, say, 2 weeks. I'm looking at the date on the buttermilk, and it will make it 2 weeks, so I think that might be the key. Although I'm reasonably certain that it has been in my refrigerator longer than that, the prepared dressing. But I don't date it, probably should. Don't date it, so therefore I'm not really sure. If you're making it, a good idea is to date it. I'm going to use this 1 cup measure. So I'm going to start with the buttermilk, which I should give a little shake to. And I will make sure that the link for this is in the description box below, the link to the video where I shared these original mixes recipe. So 1 cup of buttermilk. Now, I don't know if you could substitute, I'm sure you could, substitute milk with a bit of vinegar to make the buttermilk for this dressing. I'm not sure why you couldn't. It's just, you know, preference and taste maybe. And I've not tried that because, as I said earlier, I do like it. So it's not a hardship for me to drink up the remaining, buttermilk and use it in biscuits. Okay, that one went dry, and as you'll see, because somebody will point it out, I'm using Miracle Whip, not mayonnaise, and it's because it's our preference. We prefer Miracle Whip over mayonnaise, but you use whatever your family is happy with and comfortable with. There's lots of things in the world going on today that we have to have an opinion about, but we certainly don't need to have an opinion about whether or not it's Miracle Whip or mayonnaise. Whatever works for you. So into this bowl goes mayonnaise. And get rid of this. And I'll wipe up my messy hands. And here I go. Oh, my timing is good. I see my husband just pulling up with the big truck. So dinner is on the stove. It's cooking. It'll need 10 or 15 minutes to get ready out there. So by the time he gets through the door, I'm going to be just about ready for him. Good timing. Now, I'm going to do 2 heaping spoonsful of the ranch dressing that we just made together. And I'm going to get in here with a whisk, and I'm going to be careful because I think I chose the smallest one of my bowls in the cupboard for some reason. And so I have to worry about it splashing all over now. This will thicken as it sits. So if it seems a little too thin for your liking, don't worry about it. It will thicken up. And now, I'm just going to make sure it's really well mixed. And I can smell the buttermilk. So I guess if you weren't a fan of the flavor of buttermilk, you could definitely just sour the milk with a bit of vinegar, a teaspoon of vinegar or a teaspoon of lemon juice. Now I'm going to go in with the spoon I used for the ranch dressing and just taste it and make sure that the seasonings are good. Oh my gosh, so good. Now I just want to sit down with a bag of Doritos or something and eat. But I'll put this in a jar like this and into the refrigerator, and then there'll be something to snack on later and to use on salads for the next week or so. And I'll bring you back when I have dinner ready to show to you. Now here's the chicken all ready. I think that I could have turned the oven up a little bit to make it more brown on the top. The chicken is completely cooked through, but I think I'd be happier if it had browned more. I think it smells delicious in here, so that's a good sign. I just cooked up a pot of mixed veggies and some potatoes. And so, I don't know if you guys ever do this or not, but I don't if there's just the two of us. In fact, when we're all at home, I don't put it into serving bowls. We serve it out of the pot, which we're going to do tonight. And just add a bit of potato. I'll move that over. And add some veggies. And a piece of chicken. Oh. I better get a flipper. And there we go. Baked ranch chicken. That's what's for dinner tonight at our house. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, do all the things. Give it a like, comment below. You'll find all of the recipes and links for this chicken and for the ranch dressing in the description box below. And I hope that if you haven't subscribed already that you'll do that so that you can keep getting these weekly cooking videos. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.